So yeah, hi guys, hi all, hi everyone. Thank you so much for joining this call today. Yeah, Andrea and we are super excited to have such wonderful guests as you are. I already spoke to each of you personally on the one-to-one calls or even in live. I met some of you at the conferences and everything. And yeah, thank you so much for your time and for joining this call. Today we have all kinds of Web3 jobs on this call. We have marketing specialists, an investor, founders, a tech guy, an accelerator, a couple of advisors. And yeah, I think it's maybe better if you guys present yourselves. Maybe let's start from, I don't know, Nelson, could you please tell us a couple of words about yourself, what you are doing?
Yes, thank you. Hello, my name is Nelson. I'm CEO of Lightno Media. Lightno Media is a advisory, marketing, and PR agency. We help projects mostly on the advisory side with investor relations, partnerships, business development, and strategy. And we're mostly geared towards early stage startups, but we're also helping ecosystems, protocols, and larger companies in the space to better maneuver the crypto space.
Yeah, thank you so much, Nelson. Who's next? Maybe Victor?
Sure. So I'm Victor, based in Spain, and I'm doing all things product marketing with a technical background. So I'm very biased towards the technical persona, especially developers. And I started this Web3 about 2 years ago. I do all things from working in my day-to-day work toward also some mentorship and advisory to startups in the Web3 and Web2 space.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Victor. So let's continue with Spain. Andrea, could you please also tell us a couple of words? Yes.
Hello. So I'm Andrea. I'm the CEO of BANC, which is a small investment club, and we invest in Web3 projects and also Web2 projects, and we have tokenized our shares. So that's also our differentiation with other investment clubs, and we also help them not only with the money, but with everything that they need, technological, marketing, legal, or whatever, to expand and get bigger and grow the different projects or companies.
Yeah, thank you so much, Andrea. And the last Spanish guest, Eugene.
Hi, everyone. I'm Eugene. I'm a CEO of the yardhub Venture Studio. So you can think of us as a mix of a VC accelerator incubator. So normally we provide the funding to the projects, but we also provide a lot of other resources as BD, marketing, development, and all the good stuff. And recently we've launched the accelerator. Our first cohort has 18 projects. And yeah, it's been a cool ride. And it's great to see the markets reviving again.
Yeah, that's true. Thank you so much. Yes, and thank you guys, the rest of the audience that you are here. It's super nice that you're here. And today's topic is partnerships and ecosystem building. Partnerships and ecosystem development is something very important, which plays a crucial role in advancing technology, fostering growth for startups, determining effective marketing tactics, and building a strong Web3 community. So I was thinking about maybe we could ask you guys from each of your perspective. For example, let's start with, I don't know, Nelson and Victor. You guys are both marketing experts. And how would you define the importance of partnerships and ecosystem building in the context of marketing?
Should I go first, or you're gonna go first, Nelson?
You are unmuted, so go ahead.
Okay, I go first then. So for me, partnerships and ecosystem are key. When you look at the most successful Web3 projects, no matter which one it is, it's all about a strong ecosystem and a lot of partnerships. If you try to do everything by yourself, you're gonna fail. When we look at Bitcoin or Ethereum, just to name the two more popular, the ecosystem is massive. The number of people contributing and all the partnerships happening there are just amazing. Not to mention, of course, the fact that decentralization is key. So some people are more focused on identity, some other people are more focused on wallet. Maybe you want to scale, maybe you want privacy, maybe you want whatever you want. Usually the best way is try to scale by developing partnerships and therefore a very powerful and solid ecosystem. That's my point of view of this.
Thank you. Anything to add, Nelson, from the same kind of perspective?
Yeah, I think with crypto, a lot of marketing is narrative building. And so what is the narrative? What is the story that people are going to tell themselves, whether they're funds, investors, traders, about the specific ecosystems and the specific projects within these ecosystems? And so when the understanding the power of narratives really plays a role in terms of the partnerships that you're going to have. So understanding what the story that people are going to tell themselves, and then the partnerships are really going to empower those stories that are being told. So ecosystems have to be very clear about what is the story that they're telling the market, what are the story that people are going to be telling themselves in order to get into these ecosystems, and how do you build partnerships both within the crypto space as well as outside of the crypto space to be able to more easily sell and push those narratives. So that's kind of, I think, how marketing plays a really big role in partnerships and also just the development of these narratives.
Totally, thank you. Yeah, and Andrea, from the investor's perspective, what do you think?
Yeah, it's something that you have to start building since day zero. Sometimes we have projects that they say they're too small to start building these partnerships or ecosystem or trying to reach to other people, and they're right. Like they are not going to build or establish those partnerships since the first day, but it's important to get yourself to be known by other people, and once you're ready to establish those partnerships, it's going to be easier if you have already been talking with them, they have you in the radar or whatever, and you never know who you're going to need help from. So it's always good to start since the first day.
Yeah, totally. Thank you. Yeah. And Eugene, also from the Venture Studio and Accelerator.
Can you please repeat the question? Because it's, I don't know why, it's raining really heavily here and my internet just died when you asked the question.
It's okay. Sure, I can repeat it. What is the importance of partnerships and ecosystem building in the context of your perspective?
Well, I think in Web3 it's everything because first of all, it's a very young space. The other thing is like most of the players here, they don't have a big track record. So basically partnerships is the best way to establish yourself in the scene, because like if you partner with a bigger guy, it's kind of like a recognition. And it's always important even for investor when you look at the project, who are they partnered with? Because you realize, okay, if they partner with this particular player, they did it. You did due diligence, you know that they've done it. And in Web3, it's very important because most of the companies you never heard about, you know, most of the companies that work in the Web3 space, there are like maybe 5 people that everyone knows about, and everyone else is just a no-name, including me as well, you know. So like it's very important to have more and more network, more and more partnerships, because that is like your asset, because then you can present it as something that kind of recognizes you as a important player in the field.
Totally, I agree totally. But if you're a small player, how and bigger player don't want to partner with you, what should you do?
You need to create value. Like, yeah, that's I think it's not only in Web3, it's in any business. When you're a smaller guy, you need to create value, and sometimes it can be, you know, costly. Sometimes you need to pay up front, you know, develop something cool, and then just go to bigger guys and say, do you want to try it for free? And if they will use it, if they will adopt it, then you can go to other guys and say, look, like Binance uses our tech, and that's what you do in any kind of business. So I would say, yeah, create value for the ecosystems, create value for the partners, so they will want to onboard you.
Thanks. Yeah, that's interesting. And anybody, anything to add or maybe to comment?
Can I ask a question? Yes, Eugene, you mentioned that you have to create value, but can you tell specifically how do startups in Web3 ecosystems they approach this building partnerships with established companies? What challenges do they face and how they overcome them?
Well, I think it depends on the business model. So, for example, if you're like a B2B, it's one type of business. So, for example, in our accelerator, we have B2B projects that always ask, like, but how do we approach these bigger guys? You know, they ask us to develop something custom, and the thing is that you can agree you're building something custom, like for example, for the amount of money it costs. Like, don't put any profit on top of it, and that will create value for them, because it will be much more costly for them to develop like some kind of stuff. If you're doing B2C, you know, you can have a freemium model where you basically allow people to use your product for free before going premium. So there are all kinds of models where you can approach people and let them try what you're building. It can be all kinds of stuff, so it can be like a subscription, or you can give out some credits. Like a lot of Web3 projects, they do that, like, especially like, for example, the guys that provide the infrastructure, like if you think QuickNode, GetBlock, Alchemy, all of them have this program where you can get free credits, like a lot of free credits, because they realize, okay, if you start using their product and you find it valuable, you will stick it, you will convert to a paying customer. That's it.
All right. Thank you, Eugene. Nelson, do you have something to add in terms of building partnerships with established companies?
Yeah, I think just following on the terms of really the value, it's what is the value and differentiator that you're going to provide. I think it's a little difficult sometimes to build partnerships with more traditional businesses and brands, because a lot of businesses and brands aren't very eager to get into the crypto space. And so for crypto projects, as well as ecosystems in general, it's quite a challenge to really figure out how do you properly convince big brands and big players outside of the crypto space to partner with you. And I think that also goes back to the value. What does the UI look like? What is the user experience? How do you improve the user experience to make it as easy and as seamless as possible so that it doesn't seem like you're actually using crypto? I think that's a big focus. A lot of these crypto projects build too much for the crypto users, and crypto users is a very small group of people. So if you do want to build brands, partnerships with large brands and companies, you have to make it very easy for their users, their customers to get involved and to get onboarded. And that could mean a much different change of development and product design than what a lot of these companies might be moving towards. So I think this is very important for ecosystems to really become clear about who are you building for right now, and also who are you building for in the future. And if you're looking to really expand and grow the ecosystem and you're looking to onboard millions of people, you're going to have to eventually partner with the big brands. You're going to have to partner with the large companies. You're going to have a very seamless user experience. And if that's not a focus in the beginning, you have to get really clear about what is realistic in terms of how do you grow that ecosystem.
Okay, thank you, Nelson. Andrea,
I would add something, Nelson, to that.
Yes.
So I think you're right, but also sometimes one of the problems that I see is that people forget to answer the question, why? Why would I give you my time? So when you talk to the companies you mentioned before, the QuickNotes, the Alchemist, and so on and so forth. Some of them, they have all these programs where they give you free credit, and still sometimes they don't get enough traction. And it's because they are not answering the question, why? Why would I invest my time, which by the way is my most precious thing, on you? What is it for me? That's one of the questions. And when building partnerships, sometimes that's one of the questions that many people forget to answer. And it's frustrating because we talk about the value, we talk about the UX, we talk about reduced friction. All of those are great, but we should be also answering this question. Why? And that's one of the things that maybe marketing, and also I'm sure you also do that a lot. We challenge most of the time the founders. We challenge the people. Like, oh, we are tokenizing my project. Why? What's in for me? What's the value in that way? Like, why should I care? And that's a question that quite often most of the projects are so obsessed about. This is my technology. This is my look and feel. This is what I'm doing. For what? Why? So that's the only thing I would like to add to Nelson's point.
All right, thank you, Victor. And Andrea, do you have something to add?
I think everything has been already said.
Okay. So my next question is, could you provide, in terms of marketing, Victor, questions to you. Could you provide an example of how a deep understanding of the target market has led to a successful partnership?
So one of the things that I also realized over time is that quite often when you talk to founders, you ask questions like, who is your ICP? And they give very, very, very fluffy answers. If you talk about personas, it's like, well, they give you very vague definitions. So when we talk about the market, I think understanding exactly, as Nelson mentioned before, who is our target user, it's very, very important. So if you don't do the proper research, trying to find your proper product market fit, that's going to be very bad. So what happens when you're a tiny startup? You don't have the resources, you don't have the knowledge. And if I ask you these questions, you may not be able to answer them because what the heck is Victor asking? Like, what is it? this persona? Is that a Spanish word? Is that an English word? So quite often through partnerships, you can also ask the other teams, like, maybe can you help me with that? Maybe you have some research already. And this is something that quite often I don't see happen. Like, you have small companies trying to establish big partnerships, and quite often it's like, can you tweet about this? Can we get your logo on X by Y or something like that? And we forget that you can also leverage those resources. So the market research is important. And the other thing that I would say is that sometimes we also underestimate the market view that some of the founders, investors, VCs, but also analysts are having. When I talk to a lot of people in the Web3 space, and I mention, I don't know, Messari, Giga, they don't spend any time within any of the research. And they have sometimes very good understanding on what is the market doing. And it doesn't take so much time to read a little bit of those research. And I would also emphasize the importance of understanding what is outside of your battle. Like, if I'm in the NFT market, or if I'm in the DeFi or gaming, what is also happening on the other side of the business, so I can have like a more comprehensive point of view.
And how do founders do this market research to find the target audience? What kind of tools they use?
Well, many of them. I'm sure that Andrea also has some opinions here, but I'm very biased towards product marketing. So Messari has wonderful reports. I know the subscription is not cheap, but if you need something, they are also usually willing to help you to understand what are the trends. When it comes into developers, you also have other reports like Developer Report, Artemis.nyc, Boya now may also want to say something, but there are many ways that you can do your research. And last but not least, you have tons of AI tools out there that will help you do this. So you can go to ChatGPT, for instance, and ask her, as a marketer who wants to do this research, and then where would you go? And usually helps you a lot as well. But those are my questions. Bojan, you raise your hand.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I have also experience in this field, and it varies. Basically, there are multiple approaches. One of them is going directly to the marketing company. For example, we have a partnership with a marketing company that did a very deep dive research about the persona or personas that are going to use our application, but also a lot of talking to people, going to conventions, meeting people. We discovered new potential customer types other than the marketing agency managed to figure out. So it's mix and match. That's it.
Can I jump in? I also tried to find a raise hand button, but I couldn't. I guess Boyan couldn't find it either. If I got the question right, the question is like how deep market research can lead to stronger partnerships, right? I think the main answers, especially for us, is sometimes knowing your weak spots. When you know the market very good, you know where you're not strong, and that will help you to find the partners that will kind of empower you, amplify. So sometimes you have someone who has a very deep tech expertise, and for example, you don't have it in this field, and okay, we can amplify each other. We can bring the BD expertise. We have a good product development expertise, but we don't have tech. So let's amplify each other. We can build something cool together. So I think Victor mentioned that. A lot of people, they don't do proper market research, and I've seen it a lot of time because we have a lot of projects approaching us, and sometimes they pitch me the product, and I say, oh, you're like that product that is huge in Web3, and they say, who are they? Like, how can you, how is it possible? Some guys were building basically layer 3, and I said, oh, you're like layer 3, and they say, what is layer 3? And it's like, are you like the second day in the Web3? So it's like sometimes it's really interesting. It's like, we are building, we build a marketplace. Have you heard about Amazon? What's Amazon? It's like something like that, So I think people, but it's obviously it's a very basic knowledge, but the deeper you go, the better product you can build, because you will know like what features are missing in the market, and when you know what features you're missing, you can serve them and you can build a better product and grab yourself a piece of the pie.
Sure, yeah. Maybe Andrea, could you also contribute and comment like the marketing research when you evaluate projects, for example?
Yeah, following what Eugene said, especially what we do with our founders as we invest in idea phase, is all of them, of course, they think they have a product or a project that is going to be valuable and anyone is going to be paying for that. So what we tell them is go test the people that are going to be your potential clients. And even though you don't have anything, an MVP or anything that is working, do tell them if they would be willing to pay for this because it's going to help them with that problem. And many times when they do this and they go out to search for these type of clients, they come back with the answer that the people are not willing on paying for that. So they have to pivot. But you should rather do that before you start building something, because many people do think they have some really good idea or some really good project that is going to be solving a pain in the market, but maybe that pain is not something that the players are willing to pay for. So first thing you need to do is get your clients, get to know who is going to be your client, ask them how they want their product, and then you develop or you keep building your project or product, but not before that. So yeah, first thing to do is get to know your client and get to know if they're willing to pay for what you're building.
Totally. Yeah, thank you. Nelson, anything to add?
I think it's very important to be your biggest supporter as well as your biggest hater. And I think a lot of founders in the Web3 space, it's a very challenging space to build. And obviously it's understandable that you want to be your biggest supporter, but a lot of them get sidetracked in being so supportive of what they're doing that they completely ignore the kind of the devil on the other side, which is just like you want to be dismantling and destroying your product at all times. Because if you get too stuck in the supporter mentality, you think you're building something great and awesome. Meanwhile, nobody's going to be onboarded, nobody's going to be using it. And I think that has a lot to do with just thinking that you're building this amazing product and not being very realistic about exactly why you're building it, what the weaknesses are, what the issues are. And so for us as an advisory company, we are always obviously your biggest supporter and your biggest fan, but we are the biggest haters that we could possibly be, because we have to be very realistic about what you're building. And if it's not working out, it's not moving in a way of success, we're not going to be wasting our time trying to keep supporting you in terms of like what you're doing. So I think it's being very realistic about what you're building, and you have to just be willing to bite the bullet if things are not moving in the way that you want.
Sure, Boyan.
Yeah, something that we try to incorporate in our company is Jews. They have a very useful and good tradition that when there is a debate and there is a consensus among everyone, there is always someone who has to play the devil's advocate. They just give him the role, and you have to be against and come up with just following up on Nelson. You have to be. It's impossible that it's so great. Everything is so great. So it's this something that we are trying to do here, and also our investors, angel investors, are kind of having that approach. So yeah.
Sure, Victor.
It's interesting that you mentioned that, Boyan, because we try to do the same and we realize about two things. The first one is that quite often we don't know what we don't know. And in the Web3 space, most of the stuff is actually very new. So even when you try to play devil's advocate, it's like, what the heck is going on? So sometimes we also pull random people from the community to do some tackle. So we try to get out of our bubble of, the people building the product. You pitch it to someone else, and then it's like, this doesn't make any sense. This is so crazy, because sometimes you forget to mention some of your concepts. So this combination of we don't know what we don't know. And going back to what Andrea said, are people willing to pay? This is also something very interesting in Web3, because in Web3, I also found the following thing. Sometimes people are like, no, I want everything for free. But then in Web3, we are so used to pay for little things like the gas cost and so on and so forth. And then you find people that are like, well, if there would be an alternative to Gmail in Web3, which can give me my email, I'm willing to pay maybe $5 or $10. But by default, we are all using Gmail or any free mail service. So the fact that in Web3, there are so many things that are new, sometimes it's so hard to know who is willing to pay or not. So that's why I also rely sometimes on third-party agencies which are agnostic from my community, and they can do this kind of independent and unbiased research, because otherwise it's completely impossible to understand if people are willing to pay for something or not. Am I willing to pay for a Web3 wallet? I have my Ledger, which I bought, but for a software wallet, am I willing to pay? I don't know. never really asked me anyone this question. So the Web3 space, we have a lot of room for research, and maybe the results are different. So that's the only thing I wanted to answer.
Oh, yeah, thank you guys.